Hi, my name is Lewis North and I am the Chief Technology Officer at WorkBuzz. And these are my top 5 tips for harnessing AI technology to propel people operations. Top tip number 1, don't be afraid of AI, but do set boundaries around its use. So AI is like adding superpowers to your people. So you should definitely embrace AI, as the opportunities that it presents are huge, but you do need to build a framework around its use and define what is okay and what isn't okay when it comes to using it. So to give you an example, you may allow your team to use AI for drafting content, so things like job description, adverts, that kind of thing. But you do need to be aware that with some of the large language models, particularly things like ChatGPT, the prompts that you're using to create that can become part of the training data. And as a result, that content could be made public. So you do need to be very mindful of that and make sure that your teams aren't using any confidential or sensitive information when using a publicly available tool like that. Top tip number 2, teach your people how to use and how to converse with AI tools. So take, for example, a tool like ChatGPT. You obviously have to ask a question in order for it to give you an answer. Sounds simple, right? But actually, however, depending on how you ask that question, that will change the type of answer that you get from it and the structure of that answer. So it's worth teaching your team and your employees the basics of LLM prompting to help them get the most out of that tooling. And another great tip there is actually ask the LLM how to provide a prompt to it so that you can get the outcomes you desire. That's useful. And another one that I use regularly myself as well is ask it to explain things to you like you're a 10-year-old. That is a very good way of getting to the root of a complex problem in a very digestible way. So that is a useful way to interact with large language models. Top tip number 3, do your due diligence to prevent any issues with the data. So if you're partnering with an AI tech provider, ensure you have asked the right questions to find out what's under the hood of their AI tooling. Is the tool simply plugging in something like OpenAI, and is the data actually potentially becoming a free-for-all and to where that's ending up? Where is the data being hosted? Which country, which territory is the data being used to train their model? And therefore, some of your content will become part of how it answers other people's questions in the future, and so on, things like that. So you really do need to find out more about how they're using your data, where it's stored, what tooling is being used behind the scenes, particularly concerns around the data crossing borders, particularly if you are in the European Union and GDPR, but also, of course, the California Consumer Privacy Act as well, and understanding the data implications around that, and making sure that it is anonymized or pseudo-anonymized as well, wherever possible. Top tip number 4, cleaning your data. If you are using more traditional machine learning tools at your organization, you need to be really mindful of the quality of the data that you're using. So it has to be of a decent quality, free from bias as much as possible, and be accurate and up to date. So there's a mantra in AI circles of rubbish in, rubbish out. So you have to remember that if you're putting in data into your training models for your AI, that if it's of low quality, has bias, or is inaccurate, the responses it gives your people, it's just going to amplify this even more. So it's imperative that you make sure that the data is clean, is accurate, is up to date, is free of bias as well, so that you can ensure your responses are of a good quality. To give you an example, let's say you trained an AI model on all of your health and safety policy in your organization. If your employees then ask questions of that AI, the answers that it's giving are going to be out of date, inaccurate, and potentially dangerous to them. So it's imperative that you make sure that the data going into these models is good, is of a high quality, is accurate. Top tip number 5, try and implement some self-service tools. We now have access to highly advanced technology that allows every employee to quickly and easily answer their own HR questions. So this is made possible with a technology called retrieval augmented generation, which is effectively a huge, powerful database that can store and analyze huge numbers of documents, from training manuals through to reward and benefit information, learning and development platforms, that kind of thing. So using an LLM and a large language model, these documents can be interrogated to answer employee queries and enable like a self-service kiosk. So you can group together content and answers out of all of these different documents, and the large language model will kind of compose that back into a summarized answer. So with tooling like this in place, it's like having a little HR expert sat on your employee's desk or on their shoulder, answering any questions that they may have about the business. Queries normally directed to people managers can also then be answered by AI agents, with just a small number of questions being escalated by the LLM to HR teams to take the answers further. So it's really freeing up people leaders and HR teams to focus on working on more value-adding things for the business. So definitely worth exploring AI agents and self-service tools.